Hello and welcome to this February 1st edition of the LSAT report. I recently wrote a blog labeled, "Are You on a Partisan Plantation?" In it I go on to kind of talk about how people segregate themselves, pick sides, and therefore get locked into a certain way of thinking, therefore voting, and what I see is kind of the dangers that are, but go ahead, check that out. It's full of a lot of great stuff, and I can't obviously go into it here. What I did do in that blog, though, was talk about a certain posting from a self-proclaimed liberal that I thought exemplified my point almost to a T. And what I said I was going to do is I'm going to post a series of videos breaking this thing down to kind of explain what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm going to do here. Starts out, I would like all of my right-wing conservative friends and family members to read the following. So, a delineation. It's you against me. And that's for whatever they feel that way, that it's them against these other people. It explains my beliefs in a nutshell. Okay. I guess that can be a good thing. I borrowed this from my buddy Barry Pearl, who borrowed this from another friend. I recently found out that the original author is Laurie Gallagher Witt. It's an author of some fiction. Anyway, the first thing I wanted to say was something I said in that blog, is I find it really, really funny that instead of someone deciding they're going to write their own thoughts down, instead what they do is they cite articles as some form of weird communication. You can look at a string of these things, and it's, oh yeah, well, look what so-and-so said. And I think this is a problem. It either shows you don't have the ability to think, because it's just confirmation bias. This is what this person, well, this says exactly what I wanted to say. And confirmation bias, it might be exactly what you think, but it also might be what you would like to think about, you would like to be true about yourself. Might not actually be true. Well, I'm part of this group because this sounds good to me. You might agree with it, but have you actually processed what they're trying to say? Because once you process it, then you're actually able to communicate it in your own words. Something you might think about. So, because, quite frankly, I'm getting a little tired of being told what I believe and what I stand for. Really? Isn't that what you just said you were doing? I don't want anybody telling me what to do, so here's what other people are telling me what I think. This is what I think. What that guy said. Do you not see how moronic that sounds? But anyway, I mean, you're going to agree with certain aspects, but to somehow say, I'm tired of other people telling me what I believe. And so, here you go. This guy wrote it down for me. Sounds kind of funny. Goes on to say, spoiler alert. Whoa, what's next? Not every liberal is the same, though the majority of liberals I know think along roughly these same lines. Okay, spoiler alert, I'm not sure if that means what you think it means, but anyway, not every liberal is the same. No shit. Not everybody is the same. I hope everybody's different. Because if you don't think differently at all, you're in a frickin' cult. So, not every liberal is the same, though the majority of liberals I know think along roughly these same lines. No, we're not the same, but we think the same. Most of us anyway. Don't you see a problem with that? You can put this on conservative side too. I'm just picking this because this is what was thrown in my face. It was someone else posted this. So anyway, I find that really ironic. We don't think the same, except most of us. Crazy! That's what that is. It's a cult. Anyway, his first point is this. I believe a country should take care of its weakest members. A country cannot call itself civilized when its children, disabled, sick, and elderly are neglected. Period. Well, thanks for the scolding. And also the insinuation that if you're not a liberal, you obviously don't care about that group of people. Although there have been plenty of things enacted and done that didn't come from a liberal point of view. I don't think Mother Teresa was a liberal. She may have been, but I think she probably had some pretty conservative views. In fact, maybe she didn't call herself anything. That might make some sense. Here's the problem. You're insinuating that you have the moral high ground because of the political affiliation you have. I think you're a moron for picking a political affiliation in the first place. Go ahead and have some common decency and just skip the second step. Save yourself the trouble. Because what you do when you put yourself on that plantation is you rule out the other half, the other possibility of maybe some good ideas. We had one of my previous videos talked about the whole DACA meeting that was put together, where for the first time, according to these Congress people, they got together, both sides, in the same room, around the same table, and hashed out some ideas. And they were shocked at how, wow, it seems like we're actually able to get somewhere and maybe come to some resolution. Because you're bouncing ideas. Here's my idea. Well, no, I don't agree with that idea, and this is why. Oh, wow, I see your thought process behind that. Oh, that makes sense. Now I know where you're coming from. Hey, good idea. Do you think we could bring some of these? Maybe some compromise? A good idea plus another good idea makes a great idea. A group that thinks they have a great idea and this group thinking they have a great idea don't normally come together very well because they each think theirs is the best. And what you have is conflict. So this, I think, is at the base of almost everything we have. We have division based upon party lines and God knows what else. Here's the deal. What you say, I believe a country should take care of its weakest members. I and all these other people, most people think that. Doesn't matter what group they're part of, even what religion, if they're just good people. If you don't see it, that's the problem. Your enemies are not other people in this, the normal people you hang around. Your Republican friends and family that feel such animosity from. It isn't them you got to worry about. It's the people who are dividing you. So, the other thing too is, you say you're liberal, and I'm going to take you at your word that that's the case. And so I assume that you vote a certain direction. But you might want to think of, why are these people having such problems with what you're saying? You know, maybe you're just a poor communicator, which actually makes some sense because you had to use someone else's words in order to get your point across. So maybe in your interactions, you're just running into problems. I mean, that's something we can all work on. We can get better at, but that might be it. Maybe they, like me, are tired of the insinuation that because they don't vote the same direction as you, they're not good people. You know, that obviously you've had some conversations. It's gotten probably heated. I would assume that that's probably the case. They're just like, God, you don't get it. You don't have to be that in order to be a good person. But I don't know. I'm guessing here. Perhaps, and this is my biggest point, they, like me, have heard what you said about being a good person. They also know the way that you voted. And so they look at places where liberal, generally democratic rule has taken place. And a lot of time, those places are kind of the shitholes. Places like Chicago and Detroit and LA, places with severe problems, democratic strongholds. And they say, well, I like what you're saying, but I'm not sure you're on the right path. That's it in a nutshell, as you said. Now you understand why people might not take you too seriously. Because even though you're well-intended, as the rest of us are, you look at what's gone on, and it might not actually come out to play. Now, I'm not saying the conservatives got it all right, but what I'm saying is it probably takes both sides coming together. And unfortunately, we have such division that's fueled, I think, from the top, through the media, into the people, and then the politicians, just because they want votes, see that, and they respond in kind, and it builds upon itself. Until we get away from these self-described political affiliations, we're never going to see any changes, because what those divisions are bullshit. They aren't true, they aren't real, and they have nothing to do with reality. So that's my first breakdown. The next breakdown is talks about his second point, which is healthcare. Should be interesting. So I will talk to you later. Have a great day. Signing off.